I've been involved in property development for 25, 30 years. Always a family-run company, and it means more. When it's family, it means more. My son's future relies on this business. We have to get it right. I walk around this hall and I listen to other people, and I've got to be honest with you, I've been involved in this business for so long, I don't even understand what they're talking about either. So, you know, your LIBORs and all the rest of it. It comes down to two facts. If you pay too much for a property, you're going to lose money. If you buy it cheap, you're going to make money. But it's all about timing. We as a company, with my sons and a hand-picked team, have developed a company that only buys in distressed markets. Other people tend to buy when the market's going up. I've never understood that. They seem to get on this bandwagon of, and I know they get sold like a get-rich-quick scheme or what have you. This is the third time in a distressed market, and my sons have brought me out kicking and screaming out of retirement, okay, just to get on this, but I'm actually enjoying it more than I've ever done before. I think in real estate development, you have to weigh up the risk. The word risk has to be removed from a business. It has to. Okay, no one ever does it 100%, but we focus on that and getting as close to zero as possible, because you have to remember, in our business, we use investor money to keep the project for ourselves long term. I'm a landlord by trade. I've been a landlord for many, many years. I'm not going to lie. Do I want to be a huge landlord again? Absolutely not, because that business has shifted so much. Back in my days in the 80s and 90s, I had a development company that developed just short of £1 billion worth of developments. I ended up with a huge portfolio of 770 properties in my personal name. Do I want that again? No, I don't. Absolutely not. I'll give that to my sons, because I'm just too bloody old for it now. But I think what we're doing this time, we're being more selective. We have to. The world's very fluid at the minute. And as I say, I go back to where I was an hour ago, 2 hours ago. And it comes down to two facts, and these are the true facts of real estate development, okay, or buying, or as an investor or whatever. You have to buy when it's on the floor. That's what we do. So we use a lot of investors' cash with our own family cash to buy when the prices are crashed. We only do this. In 2 years' time, I'll not be here. We don't need to be here, because then we'll just be managing the portfolio that we've bought today. Now, you can go and do what I do. The problem is that you don't have the network of contacts I've built up over 20 years, private lenders, senior debt lenders, agents around the world who phone me because they know we can write a check for £2 million there and then. Some of the projects you'll see behind you in a minute, you know, we've had 7 days to complete on them, but not many people can do that. But you can't go to a bridger, you can't go to a lender, you can't do buy to let. It just doesn't work. And these people who promise you quick money, you've got to be really careful out there. They're just interested in your fees. I've seen it for many, many years. I've bounced around London for many years, all over the world. And these people just say, we can get you quick money, give us your fees, give us this, give us that. They will fail you, okay? So we run this investment firm as a family firm. It has to be family based. Jake and Curtis are the driving force behind it. I have one role. My role is to buy cheaper than anybody else in Britain, and I'm pretty good at it, so I'm happy with that. And they tell me if I'm not, by the way. So, but I think where we go from here is, I hate to be disparaging, but the opposite of what everybody else is telling you. Okay, because our model has to be unique. It is singular. It is, and successful. It is. Projects are protected because of the way we buy. They are at such a cheap price, they have to go up. Now, it doesn't matter how long they take to go up for me, because ultimately we're going to keep every project ourselves. We're not looking for a quick flip or get rich quick and all the rest of it. That's not what we're about. But other developers will do that. We don't do that. We just keep it nice and simple. But we will carry the risk for our company as a family, and if we ever need extra cash, we just inject it ourselves, because I like to use a term that we're all in it together. I think as also going forward in this world that we're in, it's very unpredictable. We know that. This COVID bow wave, this is not over, I promise you. I expect prices to come down before they go up. Now, all you'll do when you put the TV on these days is hear how great it's going to be, great things are getting better and all that. I've got to be honest with you, I don't believe a word of it. But I see on the ground, I see the prices, I see the deals that we're getting offered, and they are pennies in the pound. But it comes from an established network that we've had for many, many years. I think our scope is to buy more and more and more. I mean, if you look at the boys there, I mean, it used to be the case I used to tell them what to do. Now they tell me what to do, which is pretty ironic, but they're in the modern world. They see what's going on and they have that energy. So it's definitely a family business running we have. Curtis is our Chief Investment Officer, fully bank trained for your compliance, your anti-money laundering. Jake is MD of the company, extremely changed. Now, I've had Jake at my side for 10 years. When it comes to doing what we do, there is no competition in our field, in our space. We do not have any competition because everybody else wants to wait till the market's safe again. That is the wrong time to invest in property. When it's safe, the prices are not real. The valuations are not real. And some of the companies in this room are going to have a problem because everything they do depends on a risk valuation. It has to be valued somewhere because some people rely on senior debt, bank loans, mortgage, buy-to-let. They are not guaranteed. In this market right now, the banks are tightening the purse strings, not opening them. I promise you, I know that to be true. So all of your loan to values, you've probably experienced it. Your loan to values are dropping right now. They used to be 95%. I used to achieve 95% loan to value. But now I'm seeing figures at like 65%. That puts you as an investor into buy-to-let seriously at risk because you don't know whether you're buying at the right price or not. This is why I refuse to go into that market myself again. All of our projects are niche projects that I'm happy to own, but our yields are through the roof. We've only got 4 or 5 on the go at the moment, but that's because they're hard to get at the right price because I refuse to overpay for anything. But something Toby said a minute ago, a lot of people say to us, how can you give such big returns? Well, when I'm buying half price in this market, believe me, it only goes up. But I'm not in any hurry to sell it. I'm going to wait for it to bounce. And if I have to hold our projects for 5 or 10 years, I'll do that. I've got no problem. Now, you guys can do the same. But I'd have a word, I'd caution you on that, because I'll tell you now, this market's going to come down even more before it goes up. So I wouldn't listen to any blue sky thinking right now. I've been around a long, long time in this business, and I'm very qualified, I feel, to advise people like you on it. But I think also there's a shift on what we're going as well. The residential market right now is not as stable as it used to be. I know rental markets are, but for me that presents a risk also because there's more people now, there's more repossessions. I have the banks on the phone daily, no, not daily, but definitely weekly. I have the agents on the phone. We've got these. You need to write a check in 7 days. Well, I'll go down, but I want it half price. I want it less than half price. Otherwise, I'm not interested. That's what we do. It's worked well for me over my time on this planet, and it's working again because we're getting more and more offers all of the time. If you look at Kirklake Road, for point as an example, there's a project there I bought 10 years ago, and I paid £500,000 for that land and the house. That was cheap at the time. That project now is worth 7.2 million, and the key to it is that I've been able to hold it for 10 years because I knew that it would go through the roof. It has to go through the roof, but it's all about recognizing the market you're in. It's a really, really niche project. There's not lots of competition. We're very selective on what we buy. People come to me all the time and say, we've got this tower in Birmingham and we've got this tower in London and all the rest of it. It terrifies me. I would never do a tower of apartments if they were free because the cost alone can sink a company. I wouldn't even touch it myself. And this is from someone who is involved in most of the Liverpool waterfront, by the way. I would not touch them for free right now because they can go down before they go up. So there's a word of caution for you. These projects, however, are so selective they have to go up because there's 3 houses there being built. The target market is ultra high net worth or professional footballers. We already engage with the football teams to do that. But I think the exit route on property has to be the key. Do never buy a property unless you know what you're going to do with it. That is a fatal mistake from people who invest. From our company point of view, we're inviting people now with Avantis Wealth, and thanks for inviting me, by the way. I think the market itself is in a state of flux. It's very, very fluid. Even I don't know which way it's going to go, but I know one thing. Everything we're buying today has to go eventually. But I can't say that for everything else I'm seeing in this room. I've got to be honest with you. That is a risk. I hate the word risk because this is my son's future on the line also. I think if you look at luxury houses and you look at some of our other developments, you've got to know your market. And the one sector of business in real estate development that worries the life out of me is the middle band. Because people tell you something's worth £200,000 and all the rest of it. You know, these are like bouncing balls. I call them bouncing tennis balls because one minute you bought this apartment for £300,000 and you think it's going to go up. You wake up 3 months later, it's only worth 220. You know, and you've just put an £80,000 deposit. And I've seen it many, many times. Ultra high net worth or first time buyer are the only sectors to be in my opinion. Ash, can we flip that over to the next one? Here's a development here that's interesting. This development up in Hexham in Newcastle, for point in case to prove my point, this sold for £2 million a year ago. The developer got into trouble. We got a call off our lawyer. He said they need to sell it before Christmas or the bank's going to repossess it. Okay, so I met them in the lawyer's office. I offered them 950 grand, take it or leave it. I had the cheque on the table, they had no choice but to take it. There's a site there with £10.2 million with £3.5 million profit. It's all about the price you pay, but the cheque on the table is the important thing. You've got to be in position, and you can't do this with senior debt banks. And the biggest question I get asked all the time is, why don't you go to a bank? Why don't you use a lender? These people who say these things are so naive because it just takes weeks and months to get it through the system. Even if it's real to start with, you're not going to get it. So what we do is we get in with cash, and if we haven't got enough investment cash, we'll inject our own family cash. We don't mind that because we are in this together. This is, as I said to you, it's about the future of the company. It's about the future of my sons. I don't know who else is in this room, but I guarantee you this: I've done more property development probably than more than the whole room put together. But I generally don't talk about it. This is the first time I've ever done a speech like this, by the way. I've got to be honest, the legs are still shaking, okay? Because we don't really talk about what we do. But Avantis, who we work closely with, on the story behind, they're a really good agent to us. We've known them a long time. But the developments we've got now, there's just too many coming in. So we're expanding our scope. We're also going international as well because the market dictates we go international. We are land banking all over the world right now, in Africa, in Canada, because we can, because there are so many failed projects out there where I can grab them for 3 or 4 pence in the pound because they are so desperate, they just need a cash injection. But I don't ever put our cash flow at risk. We have to control the whole business, the whole development, the whole all the land, the freehold, the leasehold. If there's any risk, I'm not interested. Okay, if you come to us, everything else has failed, I promise you. My lawyers used to talk about that, you know, but if you look at the developments we've got, the Hexham, you know, even little things like a little cinema in the world, it's a cracking little development. We're going to do office space in that one because we like the yields, we like the income. You know, even ourselves, while we're moving decent sized numbers, we have to have income also. And I think that's probably why, if you're an investor in the room and you own properties, I think you want the income. These days, I'm told income is more important to most people in Britain, I'd say right now, because everyone's getting squeezed. And by the way, I don't see that getting better soon with the hyperinflations and all the taxes going up and what have you. This is why you have to do something to make money. Now, I'm fortunate. I've been doing this all my life, 25, 30 years. It's the one thing I've been good at all my life, is buying cheaper than anybody else. Now, if you guys want to get involved, be my guest, that's fine. If you want to go and do it yourself, good luck to you. I hope you get rich. The problem is, never ever put your hands in like a rich valuer's or a bank's hands. These people are not loyal to you. But when you work with us, we have to be. Because over my dead body, or my son's not going to have a future at the back of this. That's why I do it. I said to you earlier, I retired at 40. I've never been so bored in my life, so I'm glad to be back here. We've done a lot of business over the years. We are global on it, because it works, because the world is in such distress at the minute. That is not going to change. So if you're going to walk out this room after listening to me, go and buy your own property. I've got no problem with that. If you've got a pre-approved forward buying facility, go and do that with your bank. But be careful. because the world is not finished yet. Your banks are not your friends, I promise you that. But I like to sit in front of a bank in control of the room. But when we own the project, and it comes back to the question I asked you before, or I get asked a lot, why didn't you use a bank, use a bridger? When you sit with a senior lender, you've got to control the lender. If not, they will control you. And if they control you, you're at risk. I will not have that for me and my family. That's not going to happen. So we are pushing this out. We are land banking. We're looking at projects all over the world right now. We're actually going fully, we run the company as a fully regulated company, by the way, even though half of our business is unregulated. And we do that for speed.
So is our board advisors. So you'll see from our websites that we engage with very accredited and experienced board advisors, such as an ex-HMRC director, Andy Cole CBE. So he advises the company on all regulatory and tax affairs. We have Adrian Kelby, who is the ex-CEO of the Office of Nuclear Regulation. Again, she supports me directly with any compliance or regulatory issues, and also helps us with our humanitarian and ESG policies. The business itself is fast growing. I've been there 12 months now, and across the 12 months we have achieved 2 international standards. We have an international standard in compliance and quality management, and we have an international standard accreditation for our environmental standards. So we take matters of international records, barometers of success very seriously. Outside of that, we have recently won 2 awards, Fastest Growth Business 2021, and also the Global Excellence Awards for Best New Business. So I think it's just testament to what Dave was saying around the fact that we take safety and security very, very seriously as a company, and the awards and the accreditations that follow actually just underpin all of the hard work that the team put in. We are members of the United Nations Global Compact as well, so what that entails is that we have strict compliance reports that we need to submit every single year. We have disclosures and a very governance framework as well, which makes us very accountable and transparent as a business. I think touching on that a little bit more, that goes into our humanitarian work. We like to get involved in some of the projects that we're in the local communities, such as charities and things of that nature, but we can obviously give you more information on that later.